Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Hamid. I'm the instructor for PAN 5700, which is a course in blockchain and cryptocurrency. I'm an assistant professor at the School of Business. My main domain is the data science and recently blockchain and cryptocurrency. I'm also director of new lab, which still is under development. The lab main area is blockchain and cryptocurrency. Hopefully after this class, you have enough knowledge. And if you want to use the lab, just let me know. And in case you need some experiments, I'd be more than happy to assist you. And the lab would be at this level, room 107, but we are still in the chip shortage era. So we ordered several high-end computers and servers. They're still on the bottleneck. So hopefully, if they arrive soon, I'll let you know. But at least after this class, you have enough knowledge to use that, which is really good. From my side also, I do two main research. One of them is like basically application of data science in blockchain cryptocurrency, which means just as an application, how to do trading. So how you use your data science knowledge to predict if the certain cryptocurrency goes up or down. You make some informative decision, lower risk, and probably you can make better profit. The other one is core blockchain technology and adoption of blockchain. If you Google my name in Google Scholar, you can find, a couple of papers about these topics I'm just talking about. So let's talk about this course. So the course, I think the name is very intuitive. So you would learn something in blockchain and cryptocurrency. My focus is both technical knowledge and also applications. But before getting to that phase, you need to have some background knowledge and understand some jargons. These are the main thing of this course. Before getting to the syllabus and also the talking about today's lecture, this is stuff from over there from that gentleman. And please introduce yourself, your background, and a fun fact about yourself.
My name is Ethan. This is actually my last class. I actually just want to thank you. I actually work here as well.
Cool. Fun fact. For example, fun fact about myself, I love cooking. Especially fusion foods. So. It's like late, like you.
Hi everyone. My name is Mazen Sharif. I also just walked Sunday. Fresh graduate. Studied econ down in course. I don't have much background in terms of programming or so, but I'm self-taught in the sense that this is an interest of mine since 2 years now. So I'm just inevitable, and here I am. So my fun facts, which is not really fun, is that I like fun facts.
This course has some programming parts, but these are just for deeper understanding. I never evaluate you about how to program blockchain, but those sessions won't be too difficult. But given that some of you don't have the background, we don't go deep into the programming. This course first was a little different. My basically impression was it would be mainly core programming course, but now we also focus on the more application and concepts. But no worries. I also introduced a free Python course. So if you take that, it will be more than enough for this course. But again, no worries if you don't have the background. So you.
Hello everyone, I'm Ajay. I'm doing my business analytics. So this is my second semester. One semester I just registered spring. And fun fact about me, I like F1 racing. So I like
That's also we have some people auditing the class. The first one, Mrs. Ramona.
My background, my name is Ramona. My background is textile engineer.
Yeah, the second person auditing is the Professor Han. She's more knowledgeable than me, so it's my honor to have her here.
I know nothing about blockchain. That's why I'm here. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Lina. I'm starting here, so I'm here to learn. Thank you for having me.
It's our honor, actually.
Just tell me you guys, okay. My field is MBA and this is my situation. I was add not to add coding something after. Yeah, I'm cooking, but I prefer to eat.
If you look at my physical appearance, it seems I love eating too. So we have today also we have two other people over Zoom. The first one is Dipanshu. Hopefully I don't I didn't make a mistake about your name. Is your mic? Introduce yourself.
No, Professor, you spell your pronunciation right. So, Professor, I am Dipanshu Saxena. This is my last course for MSBA program, and currently I am doing my internship at CGI as a report developer. And this is my third subject under your guidance, and
Yes,
I'm thankful for you for this constant guiding. And my key skills of my interest is data visualization, Tableau, Power BI, SQL. And fun fact about me is I love traveling.
Another fun fact, it's his third course with me. Dipanshu used to be a really good student so far. Hopefully, we have another good experience together. So if you're from MSc program, probably you have like 2 or 3 courses with me. So the last one is Shibu. So Shibu, please use mic, introduce yourself, and a fun fact about yourself.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Shibu Gao, and my major is business analytics, and and this is my second semester, and I have learned the SQL, the Python, the R, and the machine learning method in the last semester, and I think I can I can do better in this course. Thanks.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Okay, let's look at the Moodle. I'm not sure if your first semester might be a little confusing. So every time I usually publish 1 or 2 weeks ahead of current schedule. So you see first part and second part. Each part you might see an assignment and some materials. So for example, part 1, which I go today, we have some reading materials. So the reading materials is usually optional. If it's a little overcomplicated, usually I mention as an optional, something like that. So but these are really good, gives you good fundamental of and understanding about the lecture that I'm going to cover. And you also see the PowerPoint of that part or that week that I'm going to teach. Again, assignments, for example, the first assignment, let me just make it larger. So introduce yourself, preferably with your picture, your background, and why you are studying this course. So hopefully it won't be too complicated. So on top of that, you see the syllabus file and also communication tools. If you click on communication tools, the first one is recorded session. I try my best to record all the sessions in case you miss any in-person session or your preference is just taking this course over Zoom or offline videos. You can anytime come here and see the video file here. It's our first session. There's no video link here, but usually you see a video link related to the sessions. Again, under communication tools, we have chat room links. So if you click on this link or copy paste on your browser, you end up being in the Telegram chat room. I don't have it on my browser, but you can have it on your browser. If you don't have Telegram, you should register. Basically, it's a chat room, so it's for faster communication. Some weird things sometimes happen. Almost every semester happens. Some of the student emails go to my junk box. I don't know, or junk folder. I don't know sure why. But if you send message here, definitely I see it. Or this is a short, small class. Usually won't happen, but sometimes when there's larger classes, too many emails I receive. Sometimes, maybe I'm not that much great in reading emails. Sometimes I miss 1 or 2 emails. But in Telegram chat, I never miss your messages. On top of that, you can help each other. So let's say there's a difficult topic in the class. Maybe you can ask over chat room, and your other friends can contribute, and just you guys can basically help each other. So, or maybe you want to do something with one of your friends. You have some problems. You can over chat room. You can find your friend's ID, and you can just send text each other. So saying that could we just work together? Maybe there's some difficulty over some assignment. So basically, it's for faster and better communication. But again, our official means of communication is email. So this is the first. I don't say don't use the email, but this is another way of communicating with the students. Questions so far? Okay, let's open the syllabus for today. So by the way, the syllabus will be updated. I'm supposed to have a TA, so at least you have updated information of TA. So over here, I put my YouTube channel. Most of the time I record my videos and put it on the YouTube too. So if you click on here, you would lead to my YouTube channel. So for example, I have playlists, which as you see for all of my previous classes, there is a playlist of the videos. Appointment link. I have office hours Tuesday 1 to 3 p.m. Sometimes it won't work for you. Just click on here. You can request for 30 minutes meeting. No worries, if it takes more than 30 minutes, that should be fine too. You can select the day, time. For example, tomorrow I'm pretty open. I'm free from 9 to 4:30 p.m. So let's say you want to meet me over Zoom or on campus. You can see if I'm, first of all, if I'm available or not. Please book a time 1 day ahead of time. I don't think it happens in the summer, but sometimes we have some sudden meeting in our department. So if you book at least one day ahead of time, it helps me to manage my time more efficiently. Hopefully in summer that should be fine. You can book at the same day too. But let's say you want to meet me at 1 p.m., confirm. You can put your name, email, and maybe some information that you want to share with me ahead of time. So it will send an email to me and book that time slot for you. And class Zoom link, I already shared with you, but you don't have to memorize it. You just come over the PDF, click on this link, and you would lead to the class Zoom session. Again, this is the class location, but if you want to use synchronous mode, Zoom link, asynchronous or offline videos, usually YouTube link. Or you don't have to even go to my YouTube link. I would share the link over Moodle. So go to communication tools and you can find it. Or Telegram, you can have a way of communicating with me. Hopefully, this syllabus would be updated with the TA information soon. So these are the main objectives of this course. First, understand the concept and jargons. So whenever you read a paper or a report, I see understand what they are talking about. understanding the design and technical parts, which mainly you would when I go over coding parts. So just as an example, for example, I would say just put a signature, right? Like an electronic signature on your document and send it to someone. So for you understand what I'm talking about, but when you see the coding part, it makes a lot more sense. What I'm talking about, hashing, putting doing cryptography over the transaction. So you also learn how to concept of cryptocurrency and how to make a cryptocurrency. And hopefully we have some experiment with that. I'm not sure about NFTs, but hopefully if you have time for NFT, I cover some section for NFTs too. At least we review the concepts, but for the design of NFT, if you have time, I will cover that section too. So again, I won't evaluate you for coding parts, and you won't have any assignment in the coding part. I give you some optional assignment, but again, we have people from so many different backgrounds, so no worries if you've never even heard of Python. It's a program software. So, but in case you want to use, to benefit the maximum amount from this course, so there is a Python course free over LinkedIn Learning. So if you can log into LinkedIn Learning using your Clark University email, this course is free and takes us about 4 hours. Just take this course. So when in that section, you would enjoy much more and you understand what I'm talking about. So at least understand the basic Python command, like how to make a function, how to assign a value, so how to import, how to export, those kind of things. There's 2 textbooks. You don't have to purchase them, but in case you want to have a deeper knowledge, these are really good textbooks. This is the second one, which is just some focus and for Python developers. Besides, on top of that, I put some other text materials. Even these are for students who are more interested to know some other development, like digital art, NFTs, and basically DeFi projects. So hopefully, if you are interested in this subject, these are really interesting topics to be covered. So the main topics: hash function, cryptography, blockchain development, financial transaction from ancient time to digital era, cryptocurrency, concept and design, NFTs, cryptocurrency trading and marketing practices. So even at least you have to do trading with cryptocurrency. I give you some suggestion, but keep in mind, I'm officially allowed to do training in the United States. If you're an international student, just check the regulations. I'm not sure about different countries and different visa types. So I give you the knowledge, but I don't say do that. So what I tell you how to do, and frankly, it's a really good profit with trading. So again, our focus is we change our focus from programming part to more applications. So trading is one of the, that is fun fact, and some people get good money, some people get bankrupt. Really, I have 2 good examples, but I'll send a bad example. So last summer, I wanted to move to a new place. I had 2 gentlemen, and they look very, fashionable, very educated. They behave very well, and they couldn't even lift heavy stuff. And I just I had to help them to move this because they didn't have enough strength. We got friends, and they said we were computer engineers who got bankrupt over cryptocurrency. And one of them said, even my wife left me because they lost so much money. So one of them, I think, lost $70,000, and I forgot the other one, but they got bankrupt, and they had to. They said we work from Monday to Friday, and over weekends we do movements. So they work in the moving companies and just go to other people's place and just move the heaviest stuff. So just keep in mind, these also could be very dangerous. I have another friend actually lost a lot of money over Luna. I'm not sure if you heard about that. And he was, I think he spent like 2 days in the hospital. Because he got almost he got a heart attack. So just keep in mind, these could be very dangerous topics too. I published a really good paper in a good journal about how to do trading with your data science knowledge. And I took a little bit of marketing practices that I had some experiments. So some of the more specific cryptocurrency projects are just hype, or at least they started as a hype, or like some people were enthusiastic, some fun projects. I mean, Shiba or Dogecoin among them. So I think marketing has a big role in those projects, especially when I think last year most of them were on hype. Okay, questions so far? So people over Zoom, you can just use your mic anytime you have questions, or I give you some time for the questions too. So this is your evaluation. Class participation, 5%, lab and assignments. I'm not sure what the lab, I mean, we already paid to purchase the lab. If it comes, some of your experiment within the lab, otherwise, please bring your laptops. So, and I give you some instruction to install some development tools, some like Python, those software. So even your own laptop should be enough. So no worries. And term project, totally 100%. About the participation, the participation is optional. So I don't check if you attend the class or not. Just that 5% comes from your assignment submissions. So if you submit all of your assignments on time, even if you make mistake in all of them, you get at least the 5%. So that 5% comes from your punctual about the submission time. So 50%, next 50% is assignment. So assignments actually accounts for 55% of your credit. 45% is your term project. I think some of them would be very clear. So, okay, so your project, or maybe I should say project, has two sections. First, delivery, which you should review to cryptocurrency project, and Ethereum, Bitcoin. Don't review Bitcoin because I teach a lot about Bitcoin. So review maybe Solana, Ethereum, Dogecoin even. So let's review and maybe 1 or 2 pages for each, and just submit it. The second submission comes from the topics that you find. So it should be some innovative technology or application of blockchain or cryptocurrency, or even today, I give you some suggestions. So either comes from my suggestion or your suggestion. Or some applications of blockchain cryptocurrency. For example, last semester, I'm not sure if, do you guys know John Euphoria? Or I'm not sure if I pronounced his last name correctly. So, Euphemia, sorry. Do you know he has his NFT project? Yeah. So actually it was, I gave him A because he had a really good final project, which was his G4. I talk about, if he has time, I might invite him. So last semester, one of your business students has the NFT project, which was really cool. And there is a presentation for your project. I ask you to either present the class or send me a YouTube link or a video link of your presentations. I give you some more details about how to present well, but just keep in mind, either is fine. I mean, or even you can present over Zoom. Anyways, should be fine. Usually I give you a feedback, and what happens, so sometimes, I mean, I don't think it will happen for this class, but some of the students might have some issues in their final project. If they present the class during the presentation week, I can give them some feedback, and maybe before the final due dates, they can improve and resubmit. So just keep in mind, presenting your research could be really beneficial for your final grade. These are the final grade policy, and there's some general university policy. Academic honesty is the most important one. If you need accommodations, please follow university guidelines and just let me know. So I will be more than happy to work with you. And these are our general schedule. As you see, first we talk about introduction, blockchain general, design, blockchain programming, trading, smart contract, NFTs, markets, and the final view it could be either your presentation, or if I don't see that much of presentation, I might invite some people to the class and ask them to present their own project. So if John is available, probably I will invite him in the last week if there's no student wants to present. Question about the syllabus? Then please go over Moodle Part 1 materials. And open the Part 1 PowerPoint. Yes?
I actually have access to Moodle. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, so you don't have access yet? Okay, after class, let me know, but give me your email. I send you an email right now. Okay, good. Just give me one moment. It's my MSH Sharif Mazin. I think I should close it. So, Part 1. Oh, it's a big file. Oh, you should get this soon. Okay, I think I already talked about the main topics that we are going to cover. Again, this course has two major sections: concept, technologies, application, and market. So if you never use LinkedIn Learning, this is very it's just very easy. You should register to declare your university email. As long as you log into your university credentials, all of the courses should be free, and one of them is Python Essential Training, which I think next week we have those experiments. Please at least just review, just let them play. So your ears would be at least familiar with the Python code, but we won't do too much code. So So also for the next week, I just do it today. I don't think it takes more than 30 minutes. So install Python, an ID on your system. At the end of this lecture, I'll give you the link, but anytime you can just Google how to install Python, how to install Python IDE or RS Studio. And do your assignment. So before getting too much deep into cryptocurrency and blockchain, let's at least have some idea about the money. So why we use money? I think I put this two main reasons here. A certain financial value, unit of account, medium of exchange. So what else do you think? Why we use money? Why money is useful? What's the applications of money?
Fixed value.
Fixed value.
Yeah, better than trading. You live a dollar.
Actually, there's a lot of discussion about the money's fixed value, but there's you're totally right, but there's also a catch that there's inflation.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's still, your estimate is totally right. Very good point. So, I think he mostly compares fiat currency or like dollar with like cryptocurrency, which there's at least less volatile. Totally true. So, what else do you think? Yeah, I mean, you can use an account or like a certain financial value. Yeah, totally right. Let's look at this fun video. I think give you some other ideas about the definition of money. So let me share my audio with the people over Zoom. Share start. Oh my God, what happened? Twitter.com.
$2 globos for $1. Global exchange, 2 for $1. You can give me your tired, torn American dollars for 2 crisp new globos. What makes money real? What makes any money real? What gives it its power? What gives it its power of illusion over everyone that they just accept it as real? It's not real. It's a social contract.
Nikki Enright is among a handful of visual artists who actually make money, literally.
So Nikki, tell us, what is the Globo?
The Globo is a global currency that I created in 2008 when the economy collapsed. I wanted to question the whole notion of what money is, what currency is. It's also a performance and intervention into the real economy because I actually use it, I try and exchange it, I tip with it, and right now I'm doing a global exchange, which is buy one, get one free. $1 gets you 2 crisp new globals.
Can I use it in this store?
As far as I'm concerned, absolutely. Can I interest you in 2 globos for $1? Very often, the first question that people will ask when I'm trying to exchange globos for dollars is it real? And this is an interesting question because it's the only time that I've ever seen people doubting their own senses. But you just saw it! And so my response is always, of course it's real, you're holding it in your hand. Some people think I'm trying to scam them. I always respect them and I laugh about it.
What can I buy with this?
As far as I'm concerned, you can buy anything you want anywhere in the world. This is the Globo. This is the Globo.
Oh, this is the new world order money.
Exactly.
Oh, I got you now with the Illuminatis. I'm down with the Illuminatis. Okay. And Tupac and Whitney and everybody. I just got punked.
So what
gonna do with this?
Nothing. Just skip it.
Well, you can do whatever you want with it, obviously.
No, you can't sell it. You can do nothing.
You can sell it. I just sold it. How are you going to say you can't sell it when you just saw me sell it? Sometimes people accept it just because they like it. It's a mashup of symbols from currencies from all over the world. Other people will accept it because they will accept it as an investment in an art piece. And then other people accept it just because they support the notion that an artist is out here talking about issues such as the global labor force exploitation.
Enright's Globos have been exhibited all over the world. A briefcase full of Globos was even stolen from the World Bank headquarters in Washington, D.C. during an exhibition. It was a case of life imitating art.
Is the dollar any more real or less? Is it any more or less symbolic than a globo?
I don't think that the dollar is any more symbolic than the globo. The only thing that makes the dollar real, whereas the globo is an art project, is the fact that there's a whole community of people beyond the United States borders even that accept it as real.
So looking at this video, I think they are talking about social consumption, or
what does it mean to have
people should accept.
Many people have heard of Bitcoin, that it's a fully digital currency with no government to issue it, and that no banks need to manage accounts and verify transactions.
Social acceptance, people should accept it as money. So you can say global could be a medium for storing financial value, could be used for account, could be medium for exchange, as long as people accept it. So people won't accept it, so there's no value for it. So, but what is the fiat money? So, fiat money is just basically a currency that's backed by a governmental financial system. You can use it for any official transactions, and basically how you interact with the government and even public companies. So, paying your, if you're using a governmental company for utilities, paying your bills, tax, so on and so forth. This type of money, which is the most common one and traditional one, is an intermediary institution or medium for transaction. For example, if you somebody wants to send money to me or send money to someone, just go through a bank and they audit and they just validate I have the money and the sender receiver address is correct, and basically those central system which work as an intermediary just validate our transactions. So on top of fiat currency, we have, during the history, we have different types of mediums or currencies that kept a sort of financial value. So the main one could be food. So no food, no life. Even during history, people used seashells for trading. More recently, the understanding about valuable metals, more specifically gold. Then we moved to more recently, which paper money is invented in China. I think about probably 1,000 years ago. It was, based on my knowledge, it's invented in China. Even a piece of art could be used for storing a financial value. Bitcoin could be used, and NFTs. So you might look at these pictures and think, what is the value of them? But they're worth about $5 million each. I talk about them later and it makes more sense, but at the beginning, even at first, I've seen this NFT, like just laugh at them, but actually now for me it makes sense why they're worth $5 million. We talk about NFTs later on the course. So, what is the common thing between these types of money that store a financial value. Aren't they for some sort of need, human need, maybe just doing some transaction? So, for example, food, maybe like 2,000 years ago in Babylon, if I farming, let's say, cucumber, I could exchange it with meat. So food could be used for exchanges, doing some transaction. It had some values. So seashells and gold, I think they tie to some scarcity. So maybe in some part of the world, gold is scarce everywhere, but because of scarcity, it might have some certain values. And even goes for NFTs, which I talk later on. There's a scarcity in gold, seashell, Bitcoin, NFTs. Not all of the, there is no scarcity for all of the cryptocurrencies. Some cryptocurrency project has no cap. The founder can just print as much as cryptocurrency they want, but it's not the case for Bitcoin. For art, it's very unique. So this is an art piece from Pablo Picasso, and it's just one in the whole world. Many people just keep this thing for saving their financial asset against inflation. But they think if they keep dollar in the bank account, maybe they, I think the US is about 4 to 8%. It's a different statistics, but they think if they keep their asset through this piece of art, it would save them against inflation. And there's other reasons. So sometimes for evading from tax, but again, we are talking about the legal matters, not legal matters. So what if we suddenly find like a mountain of gold somewhere in the world? So the scarcity of gold will be dropped significantly. Maybe gold would lose the value. Or maybe if Elon Musk can send a spaceship to a planet and they could mine too much of gold, there's a pricing issue attached, but if you won't have a scarcity of gold at that. But right now, gold is very stable because there's a scarcity, piece of art, Bitcoin, and even NFTs are unique. So there's a scarcity associated with all of them. So earlier it was human needs. Based on human needs, they find a ways for storing values and doing financial transactions. But look at this example. Do you guys know Pablo Escobar? So I think somebody believed he had $500 billion, and he just put his random places around the world. But one time he had to bring $2 million US to make her daughter born. So at that time, dollar had no value for him, life of his daughter. So just keep in mind, the financial value is really associated with human needs. It's a basic intrinsic human behavior. So we also look at this riot stone. They are found in Yak Islands in Micronesia. So these are very big, heavy piece of heavy, large stone disc we will use for transactions in that island. But the fun fact, it was so heavy they couldn't move it. So they have a ledger and saying that, okay, somebody has one riot stone, another one has two. Even after a while, they tried to divide. So they had a ledger that somebody has half of the stone, somebody have like 2/3 of a stone, and they use those ledgers. Each ledger just means a book of transactions, book of accounting. So they use it for training that island. Sometimes they try to move it. Another fun fact, during those transportations, sometimes they drop those rice down a river in Micronesia. So even they never had the access to those rice, but I still use them for transaction. looking at the history, so more a structured history of money and finance. So also with the invention of coins in the ancient times, almost at similar times around the world, even Europe, Middle East, and Asia. Then we had the great invention of paper money. It happened about 1,000 years ago in China. So people use it for storing value and transaction. Then we come to the modern area, which is computers and credit cards. People use it for transaction. And the newest one is cryptocurrency. So we are still we use all of them. We still use coins, paper money, credit card, and recently, in the last almost 10, 12 years, we are in the cryptocurrency area. So US dollar used to tie to gold standard. It's like each dollar was equivalent to certain weight of gold, but from Nixon, President Nixon, they suspended that tie. And it just should, at that time they say it's temporary, but it just is forever. So they never say we cut the connection, it just say we temporarily suspend the connection or association of gold to the US dollar. But I go back to your talk about stability of fiat currency. As you see here, even in some years, we are near 20% inflation rate in the United States. Right now, I think it's for 2020, which is about 4 or 5%. So still, dollar is not stable, but at least much more stable than cryptocurrency. So, can anyone look at this slide? What are the differences between fiat currency, gold, art piece, and Bitcoin in terms of social value adoption, intrinsic value, or scarcity, and ledger system? Ledger system, I talk it later on, just means how you keep record of transaction and balances. It's some, it used to be like paper, but now it's accounting books.
Everything has the social value
You're correct, so intrinsic value. So some of those, I mean, at least gold could have some intrinsic value. You can use gold for some, less cell phones. So you might use it somewhere. There might be some intrinsic applications, but Bitcoin. No. Social value is in all of them and adoption, but intrinsic value is not for all of them. So what about scarcity? Bitcoin is scarce, but again, some cryptocurrency projects, they are not scarce. Literally, the founder can print as much as cryptocurrency they want, but Bitcoin, they have a scarcity in Bitcoin. And ledger system, so actually ledger system is, I mean, Bitcoin is very innovative ledger system, so it's a publicly open, available ledger system takes care of all of the accounts and balances. There is some security issue associated to Bitcoin, which we'll be talking later, but as you see, most of them, at least there is common between them, but intrinsic value might be the main differences between gold, Bitcoin, and fiat currency. Again, when I say fiat currency, I mean just dollar, yuan, so governmental currency that is used as a legal tender in each country. So let's see, what time is it now? Is it 3 hours? Okay, we have let's talk to 15 to 20 minutes more, then we have a break, because after 2 hours of talking would be very boring for you guys. So what is ledger system? It's a core of financial system. Keep records of all transaction account balances, and it includes debts and transactions. So this is, I think this one is the first ledger book or accounting book. For me, it seems, which is like 2000 BC, is over 5,000 years ago in Babylon. So I think this is about some balance of transaction of maybe this is a fish here in wheat. I think they had some, it is a record of some transaction about some certain foods to me, but maybe for you it just looks different. So conceptually, Bitcoin ledger is something like this, but yeah, instead of talking about fish and like food, it will be a piece of code that have all the transactions. Somebody sends some Bitcoin to someone, so all of them will be recorded in the publicly available Bitcoin ledger. So basically, when you do transaction, let's say you go to Amazon website, some financial balance would be moved from your ledger to Amazon ledger. So it would be through financial transaction. So there are some blockchain technologies. Two big ones are Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin just keep records of transactions versus Ethereum just have a balance sheet. So again, no worries. Later on, at least you go over the Bitcoin transaction and you see how ledgers keep track of transactions. But just keep in mind, each technology might be a little different in terms of how they record their ledgers. So Bitcoin ledger is immutable, consistent, very accurate. Each transactions are timestamped, and each part of the ledger, which consists of the block of our data blocks, we have the description of transactions. Again, it might be a little fuzzy right now, but when we go to hands-on experience, you say you make some blocks and you send some transaction information from one block to another block. That makes a lot of sense. These are some jargons that we have to review. Some of them are super obvious, but again, we still need to review them before getting to that experiment. Let's compare fiat money or governmental issued currencies with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general. So there is some common parts, like both of them are transferable. They should be portable. Each currency, either a cryptocurrency or fiat currency, it should be divisible. So what is, if you divide, so what is the smaller division of a dollar? Cents. What about Bitcoin? Satoshi or something. Yeah. So it should be fungible or not unique. So it doesn't matter if I give you like $10, a bill of $10 or 10 of $1 billion. So they're not unique. We just look at the overall value. Acceptance. So there's an interesting story about Soviet Union. So they had a fiat currency. I think it was ruble, Soviet ruble. So it was just accepted inside Soviet Union. They cannot, if you were a resident of Soviet Union, you couldn't use your currency to trade with other people. So instead, they use materials for trading. For example, Pepsi had some branches in Soviet Union. They couldn't trade their currency. Instead, they trade Pepsi drinks with like Soviet military ships because it wasn't acceptable out of the Soviet Union. Another concept is stability. So all of us know that cryptocurrency is not stable. There's a lot of fluctuation. But even in the fiat currency, if you look at the Venezuela case, there's so much of fluctuation. Actually, it's just losing value so fast that even inside the Venezuela, people don't adopt it. So if you go to Venezuela, at least last year, most of the trades were based on dollars. So for example, when you wanted to buy a sandwich, they first calculate in the dollar. You could either pay dollar or they exchange quickly with the, I think pesos, and you pay pesos, then they instantly convert it to dollar. So even it was not accepted inside Venezuela. Or Iran, and I think there's an African nation, I forgot the name. So because their fiat currency is not stable, people tend to save their financial value to other currencies. So let's talk about the modern financial transaction. So Dr. Han can correct it, but I think internet invented in 1960s, 70s era. So TCP/IP, HTTPS, those kind of technologies came. There were a lot of effort to use kind of marrying financial transaction with the internet technology. The first online order happened in 1997. Somebody ordered pizza over internet, Pizza Hut specifically. And I think in the same year, Visa card invented internet-based financial transactions. In 2008, Bitcoin is invented by Satoshi Nakamoto, which could be a fake name. And in 2010, we had first online order or first financial transaction for trading pizza with the Bitcoin. Is there anyone? Have anyone heard about this story? So Laszlo, hopefully I don't make mistakes. So he was a computer scientist. At that time, he was very enthusiastic about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, blockchain, and he was participating in technology. And he sent an online post and sent a bunch of emails asking you to trade 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas that were $41 at the time. It took 4 days for him to find somebody who wants to trade. And that guy was Jeremy, who accepted to send these 2 pizzas and received 10,000 Bitcoins. I think the century deal. So do you guys know what's the price of Bitcoin right now? About 30K. It used to be 65, but not the max, but in the apex. But with the lowest price today, 29K. So it was worth of that trade. So I think the century deal. Just Google that guy's picture. He has a really interesting face, and you would shout. So where did I got this price? I got it from CoinMarketCap. This is a very interesting website. It has basically encyclopedia of cryptocurrencies. Let me just open it for now. So there's a lot of things going on here, but the main thing, just you can look at the different cryptocurrency projects. Bitcoin. You can look at price, 24 hours change, 7-day change, market cap, volume, like security supply, and what happened. I mean, the figures in the last 7 days. Let me go to one of the projects, which is Solana. It's my favorite one. So on top of the price, you can also get some other information. So in the Solana page, look at the website. So you can see the website information. So some other website exploring transactions in that currency, the wallet addresses, community. So if you want to be a part of that project, understand what we're talking about, you can go over the Medium, Twitter, Reddit, and or chat room. They have a Telegram chat room, Discord chat room. So developers or people invested in that project, they can join and they just share news. So source code, this is an open source project. So if you want to adopt, you can go over the GitHub and see what are the current development, and maybe you can basically use their code. Sometimes it happens actually. Some people just copy paste other people's codes and made their own project. White paper. So white paper is another interesting document. In the white paper, usually they talk about their purpose, technology that they use, the future development, and even sometimes they talk about cores of the innovation. So some blockchain technologies, including Solana, they promise some innovations. More specifically for Solana, they promise they have a much higher transaction than traditional transaction system. They promise to have, they are faster than even Visa card. So, and they explain why they believe, and they had some experiment that they usually talk about those projects. So even the future plan, let's say you want to invest in Solana and you want to see what is the developer future plan, you can go to the white paper and get good information. Okay, usually at the bottom, okay, so at the bottom, it just shows you the markets. If you want to buy Solana, how you do. So there is some exchange companies like Coinbase, which is a US, Binance is, I think, is a Chinese or international company, FTX, KuCoin. These are some sources that you can, these are exchange companies that you can basically make an account and just trade those cryptocurrencies. Again, there is much more information in CoinMarketCap. Please spend a good amount of time, go through the project. And fun fact, let's see how many projects is there. In first page, I have 100 cryptocurrency projects. Look, the last page is 101. Just assume how many cryptocurrency is existing in the whole world. I'm in the page 101. So right now there's 10,053 cryptocurrency projects listed on CoinMarketCap, and it's not even all of it. So this is another warning for you guys. There is so many projects, and not all of them are good. So many people lose a lot of money. So I think there is some consensus. People believe usually 50–60% of projects would be vanishing first few years. And so, I mean, in each project, when you go, there is a social media. If you go there, they just advertise so many good things about their project. But just keep in mind, this information that you might get from white paper and social media or communities, all of them may not be valid. Sometimes they just promise. There's a hype associated to some projects. So later on, either today or next day, I talk about one of the projects and what happens. And this is actually one of your assignments. Again, this is exciting technology, but don't get too much excited and invest all of your money. And just also consider the legal parts, because I assume some of you are international students and might be on some certain type of visas. Let me show you one of your assignments. Not this one. So assignment 3 about lunar crash. This is for the next part, but I think you can just solve all the assignments tonight. So it's about a disaster that happened to one of the cryptocurrency projects. You can answer this assignment by just watching this video or just do your own research. Okay, I think, okay, let's talk about the last slide. So on top of the cryptocurrency, there's some other types of financial transaction projects like M-Pesa. This is another very interesting project. So in sub-Saharan countries, half of people are unbanked. They don't have access to any banking system. But half of those people have cell phones. M-Pesa is a network provider in those countries, and basically they let them to have some financial transaction using their cell phone. So basically, people use minutes over phone to do transactions. For example, this bread is, let's say this pencil maybe is $1, and me and you both of us are using our client from M-Pesa. I send 1 minute from my cell phone to your cell phone and get that phone. It's like that pencil. So this is actually another interesting project. So there's a lot of innovations and technologies around financial systems. So let's have a break for now, maybe for 10-15 minutes. And after that, I go to the next part and just keep having discussions. So let me pause the record if I can. I'm not sure if I have been paused. I think there is just a stop recording, not pause. I'll pause. Okay, let's continue the lectures. So we're going to talk about fiat currency, other types of means that you can store and do transactions. But the main topic is cryptocurrency. So there's two major promises: having peer-to-peer transactions which are secure and trusted. So, but what does peer-to-peer transaction mean, and what's the differences of cryptocurrency types of transaction versus traditional monetary-based financial systems like credit card or checking account? So, have you guys ever worked with the Z, or somebody called Zelle or Venmo? So when you want to send money to one of your friends, a financial institution, maybe Venmo company or your bank, just taking care of what you are doing. So there is some intermediary unit that just manages your transaction. But in cryptocurrency, mainly Bitcoin, nobody controls it. There's a much more freedom. I can send money to someone without other people's observations. You can find so many good use cases, but one of them, basically think that one of the reasons that made this high was 2008 financial crisis. Maybe you were too young, but people blame banking system for that financial crisis. And they believe cryptocurrency, mainly Bitcoin, gives them freedom. They are free of control of the banking system. We are just focused on the legal part and the legal transactions. But let's say you want to you want to send money to Russia right now, which is legal. I'm not sure if sending money or financial aid to Russia is totally legal or illegal, but all of those banks in Russia is under sanction unless somebody is dying because of don't have money. If you have Bitcoin, you can just send money to Russia. Or let's something talk better. Let's talk about Ukraine. If Russia bombed their banking system, they would be unbanked, but still they can use Bitcoin for transaction. You can help somebody in Ukraine, even if there is no banking system available in Ukraine. It's a peer-to-peer transaction. It doesn't depend on any intermediary unit. But how Bitcoin makes this a peer-to-peer transaction secure and trusted through cryptography, auditable databases and consensus protocols. We go to technical parts of this parts. So by that, how many ever own a cryptocurrency or Bitcoin? Most of you have. So have you purchased it through Coinbase, exchange company, or some easier option? Have you? So you bought it. You have it in your wallet. Let's say more technical, or you have it in an exchange company or another financial company. Have you bought it through Robinhood? Or what about Coinbase or Binance? So if you bought it through Robinhood, it's not actually a true cryptocurrency. So basically, Robinhood promises that they owe you a Bitcoin, but you cannot send it to anyone. But if you bought it through maybe Binance or Coinbase, you can send it your own wallet. Could be like, I talk about the wallet later on, but basically you have full control of your cryptocurrency. But it's not the case in some companies such as Robinhood. Robinhood just they promise that they owe some cryptocurrency. Okay, but when it happened, actually blockchain technology is much older, but application of blockchain in financial system, which the first application was Bitcoin, was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto 2008. He sent this paper to some people in his community with the, presumably fake name and just a public email. And he explained this technology. I have already uploaded this paper on Moodle. It's very technical. Hopefully, we talk about so many technical parts of this paper later on and makes more sense. But please at least read the abstract. So you can at least understand the general idea about this technology and what Satoshi Nakamoto meant from Bitcoin blockchain. So these are the general issues with Bitcoin, which is the first application of blockchain finance. Privacy and security. So the information is publicly available, so people have some concern about the privacy part. But as long as you don't basically show your public address, people cannot understand whom send money to whom. Security or safety, or maybe some bad usage. Let's say if somebody uses it for money laundering, or somebody uses it in the let's say drug trading. So even those cases can be answered through Bitcoin. So that track of all the transactions are recorded in the Bitcoin ledger. So if somebody used some Bitcoin for, let's say, money laundering or drug trading, the original money is recorded. So down the road, the government can catch those people, which actually happened. I'll talk about the story later on. Governance and control updates. Basically, updating Bitcoin is very complicated because the community who run the nodes, which do mining, should vote, and they do update based on the voting. So if the majority won't vote for an update, never happens. And there's a technical term for the updates in Bitcoin. They call it fork. Fork means just after certain blocks, they try to have some changes in the blockchain. So they call those changes fork. I think it's not very technical and complex science, but if you can, maybe you can correct me. So performance and scalability. So Bitcoin is very slow in comparison with traditional financial system like a credit card. So it's the reason that if you do a transaction in Bitcoin, blockchain might take minutes, sometimes near 1 hour or sometimes even more. It depends when you ask and how many people do the transaction. But even this issue is result in a newer blockchain technology, which Solana is one of them. So Solana's transaction even is much faster than Visa card. So some of the issues is just general concern which already result in Bitcoin blockchain, but some of them are answered in other blockchain technologies such as Solana, which take care of these issues with about performance and scalability. So having communication with other legacy financial systems like credit card and commercial applications are the major issues, and there's a room for entrepreneurship. So let's say you can have some idea, you're an entrepreneur that can try the Bitcoin, especially with Solana, with a grocery store near your home. I think you can make a lot of money. I'm not sure how, but I think there's a big room for entrepreneurship in this area. Some companies like, I think, PayPal, Visa card, MasterCard, they had some patent, and at least I think PayPal is provided some kind of interoperability between fiat currency and some cryptocurrencies. So there's a lot of room for it. Legal issues that talk about money laundering, tax invasions, and another one also is energy consumption. There's a lot of concern about amount of energy that is consumed in Bitcoin. There's a lot of catch about it. Some people believe that even current traditional financial systems they're very expensive and they consume a lot of energy. Some will try to answer this concept by inventing new blockchain that they demand less energy. So there's a lot of discussion in this phase. Sometimes I give you some assignment related to these issues. For example, your second assignment is about talking and discuss Solana blockchain technology could address one of the above issues. I already give you that Solana can answer the performance and scalability. Just Google it. You can easily find some YouTube videos or some text document that talk about Solana and what is the advantage of Solana in comparison with the Bitcoin blockchain. Questions so far?
What would you say about Ethereum?
Pardon me?
Ethereum. Is it any better than like Solana?
It depends when you ask for Ethereum. Right now, in terms of technology, I think it's a little behind of Solana, but they also have a update. They promise an update that they believe they can catch up with Solana. Yeah, like if you have time, I give you some hands-on experience in Solana blockchain and cryptocurrency because it's much cheaper to do in Solana. Ethereum transaction is very expensive right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little biased towards Solana, but also Ethereum is a really good blockchain. There's a lot of applications. Later I'll talk about Ethereum more, but basically, the inventor was thinking, his first idea was having basically network of computers and basically the blockchain that can work as a smart code that basically you can install some application on the blockchain. Versus in the Bitcoin, you just take, this is just a public ledger. And later I'll talk about these technologies. But if we, hopefully if you have time, our hands-on experience would be over Solana because it's like much cheaper for development right now. I already talked about freedom. It comes from peer-to-peer transaction. You are not dependent on any government or intermediary units. We talk about public ledgers, monetary activities that people can do through cryptocurrency and blockchain in general. Also, there's other sections such as metaverse and NFT, which hopefully, if you have time, actually touch up and talk about it. About next week, next session, which is this Thursday, and also next week, we go into technical parts of blockchain. There are so many technologies that people use to validate transactions in their blockchain. The tradition of the first one is proof of work that we're using Bitcoin. There's other technology, proof of stake, delegated proof of stake, proof of transfer, proof of lapse of time, burn, history, capacity, and even more than that. But when we go to the coding section, we focus on the proof of work. It's the first proof mechanism that we use to validate transaction and cryptographic in Bitcoin blockchain. Hopefully, when we get to this technical part of proof of work, a lot of this conceptual thing makes a lot more sense. One concern is about blockchain transparency. And again, if your wallet address is available, or the information is leaked, everybody can understand what you are doing over blockchain. Might be some concern. Earlier, I talked about criminal part and what happens if we use it for, let's say, drug trade. Do you guys remember this story? Colonial pipeline hackers. So some hackers in the hacked computer system, which belong to Colonial Pipeline hackers, and it shut down about millions of people in the East Coast, I guess. I'm not sure, like 20 million maybe. So, and they just asked the US government gives us millions of dollars, otherwise we never release the computer system. And the government almost paid them instantly because they knew that in the Bitcoin blockchain, they can keep track of all of the basically Bitcoins that come from this one wallet to another wallet. And they announced to all of the exchange companies, so if you get any Bitcoin that originated from a US government wallet, just seize them. So although they paid this ransom to the hackers, but later they almost capture all of those Bitcoins that they paid. I think if they paid those hackers in cash, it was much harder to seize back the money. But in Bitcoin, because there's a public ledger, and as long as you have the wallet address that originates those bitcoins, you can keep track of all this transaction, and it seems even much secure and much reliable if you want to do international transactions. Especially U.S. government just puts so much of sanctions in so many other countries. I think through Bitcoin blockchain system, they can just track of money much better than current dollar system. And I think that later in the semester we will talk about trading. I give you some instruction how to trade in different ways. Some exchange companies. Have you ever guys did trading in decentralized system? Okay, like what, for example, what you use? Okay, so you know about that, but maybe that session will be a little bit boring for you, but yeah. So we talk about different ways of trading cryptocurrencies in one of the sections, and also application of data science in trading. So let me just pick this one. I'm not sure if you've ever had a class in machine learning, artificial intelligence, statistics, but basically, if I oversimplify it, let's say there is a function, whatever. So this is linear regression. So X are your input and Y is your output, or depending on variable. So Y could be Bitcoin price. And X1 to Xn could be different independent variables. One of them could be volume. Let's say gold price. Let's say yuan price. So you have some assumptions on some independent variables that could affect Bitcoin price. So in those kind of machine learning based training, you try to have you spend a good amount of time with basically getting this information. You train an algorithm to predict your Bitcoin price. More, if I make it more simplified, let's say instead of Bitcoin price, I want to predict next day Bitcoin price will go up or down. If I know tomorrow the Bitcoin price will go up, it's better to buy today and sell it. If I know next day the Bitcoin price will go down, it's better to sell today because tomorrow I will lose some money. So basically, in machine learning, we have some input data that could come from Bitcoin market or other markets. We use AI or machine learning to predict a dependent variable. Our dependent variable, Bitcoin price, is going up or down in the next day. This is another topics that hopefully if you have time cover it. So you don't have to just do it in Bitcoin. I already use it for, let's say, Solana, Cardano. And why I do not recommend to use it for hypes like Shiba or Dogecoin, because those machine learning algorithms based on your previous data, usually in these projects, you don't have that much of previous data. Some are very new, and maybe you cannot train your model very well. And there's some fraud. Have you guys ever heard of a Squid Game? It was a famous Korean series. Somebody made a cryptocurrency with the name of a Squid Game, and you know, look at the price. Look up here. And at the apex, they sold all of the coins and just said goodbye. So next year, the price was almost zero. So I don't recommend use this type of machine learning algorithm for those kind of like fraud project or some hypes that you don't have previous data. It's better to use for Bitcoin or more established coins that at least you have enough good information, you are sure they're not fraud. In those cases, you can train a very well model. Actually, if you can Google this article, this is one article that I published about Bitcoin trading. As you see, in the first step, I gathered so much data from stock market, gold, oil, cryptocurrency market, exchange rate, Dow Jones, which is from a stock market, and even Wikipedia. Imagine data, doing some data cleaning. For the whom never had the course, if you're especially NSDA, you have some courses that cover this stuff, so no worries. And then I use some feature selection algorithms to identify the values of the most important, and I use classification aggregation to predict the next day Bitcoin price either goes up or down. So, and I basically compare to different more complex algorithms. As you see, I have pretty good accuracy, almost 97%. And so I tried to use this model for the first 6 months of COVID era, which we don't have a stable market. Even that era, the accuracy was about 87, about 80-90%, still acceptable. And I've noticed in that area, sometimes my model is not that much confident. You see some predictions have about 50% chance. So it just means my model were not that much confident. But what I did, I excluded the predictions that my model were not that much confident, exclude this area, and with exclusion, I improved the accuracy from 87 to 94. Again, we talk about this one later. If you are you have interest, you can just send in my paper. And also, I made a GUI. This is an app. I implemented that machine learning algorithm in this tool to be able to use to make it my life easier if I want to predict the next day Bitcoin price. Another topic that hopefully we have time is talking about NFTs, and I focus on Solana. And look at this news. Maybe at the moment doesn't make that much of sense. Jack Dorsey, which is like one of the founders of Twitter, first is going to sell for $48 million, and ended up with a top bid of $280 million. Sorry, $280. Or this NFTs, I mean, this funny picture was so, well, I think each of them was between $2 to $5 million. So we talk about the concept and also how to create these NFTs. As I said, I have a student who spent a good amount of time, and John, you know John, so he he spent a good amount of time and working on NFT, and he learned how to create his own NFT project over Solana. It could be one of your final projects too. So maybe from today you can spend some time, and if you can reach me, and I give you some tutorials to you, so you guys can do your own project, NFT project over Solana, if you're interested. This is one of the NFTs created with John Dufer. Could you pronounce his last name? Defimia, sorry. Defimia. I always call him John. So this is one of NFTs of his own project. He's a undergraduate business student in the School of Management. Another project, I think John, another friend of you, is joined to this project. So basically, this is another NFT project. A good or interesting fact about them. So they are selling the NFTs and invest them in Bitcoin mining. Basically, these miners brings more stability of sustainability to the NFT projects. So if you're interested in investing in NFT project, this is my favorite one. So just Google blockchain miners club, and John also used to work with them for the marketing section. So hopefully, if John is available, I will ask him to give you a little bit of lecture about his own NFT project and what he did with this company, blockchain miners club. Talking about this NFT. So about installation, so two major stuff, Python and R. So Python, I use Python mostly for blockchain design, but the paper that I published I did in R, and the GUI I did in R Shiny. So you don't have to basically know everything from R and Python, but having them ready helps you to understand those sections much better. I already put the link for installing Python, Python IDE, and R and RStudio. RStudio basically is similar to PyCharm or Spider for R programming. It just helps you to make coding easier. Even if you forget the name, just Google Python ID or Python, you can find it. So for Python, I think I don't have to, you should already know that everybody is using Python 3. Python 2.7 is obsolete. So just download the latest version, which here is 3.10.4. For IDE, I put two links, just pick one of them. You don't have to use IDE. IDE is just a development environment, helps you to develop code much easier. I'm a fan of PyCharm, which is the first one. You can download community version for free, but if you just want to use it for education, you can apply for professional version of PyCharm for free. You just need to register on their website and tell them you're a student and use your university email, and they give you the professional version for free. If you never worked with any IDE, maybe PyCharm could be a little challenging. Maybe Spider is easier, or even Jupyter Notebook. So if you never heard of IDEs, maybe Spider could be an easier IDE and maybe more convenient to work with. So just go to the download for Windows, and these are the free tools. So even I do some coding without any IDE, I just use pure Python. But if you want to follow my code, it's better to use IDE, because even sometimes they take care of your typos, and even they give you warning that would tell you that it might be some issues. For that project, which was my paper using R, this is my favorite tool for machine learning and data science. Is mostly in healthcare industry. So if you get hired in the, let's say, hospital or a company do healthcare analytics, usually R is much more common than Python. But generally speaking, Python is much more common than R. And RStudio is an IDE for R, just helps you to do coding much easier in R environment. So you can just download the free version. Any questions so far? So I put some readings for you. At least for these weeks, there is no evaluation for reading. These are for your understanding. I put the PDF files of all of them over Moodle except for this link. So this is one of the readings. It gives you some good ideas about the blockchain technology, history of money, peer-to-peer system, concerns, and maybe future promises of the technology. The third one, which is a Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer cash system by Satoshi Nakamoto. This is a Bitcoin paper. I highly recommend to read as an abstract of this. The paper itself might be too much technical, especially if you never had any technical thing in blockchain. But in the next week, we do some coding experiment. That's coding. After those experiments, even the Satoshi paper will be very intuitive for you. It's very easy to understand what's going on there. Okay, so if there is no question, let's at least start the second part. I know for maybe first session is too much of talking, but at least we can go forward. So you have 2 assignments for the first part, and the third assignment for the second part. Just go and just download the second PowerPoint file. Okay, let's talk about some blockchain concepts. So we're the first section. It said that what is the major innovation Bitcoin? It basically solved the central intermediary. In terms of design, there is some timestamps, a lot of information that basically append to each other. So as you see, for example, they could have like some information about I'm sending some Bitcoin to someone might send too much of Bitcoin to me, and so on and so forth. All of these blocks would make a blockchain database. And we also talk about how those blocks of information are stamped to each other, and basically what is the association between each block. So in this section, we talk about public-private addresses, record tree, hash function, digital signatures, proof of work, unspent transaction, network of nodes, and general transaction. So Also, just interesting fact. So Bitcoin is the native currency of Satoshi Nakamoto's blockchain, and it just basically for running that blockchain, there should be some incentive so the people do the validation through proof of work. So if you look at the incentives, it's at first it was 50 Bitcoin per block, then 12.5 in 2016. Almost every 4 years, the amount of incentive is divided by 2, and also we have less amount of newly minted coin or mined coin would be added to the network. But also at the same time, you know that the price of Bitcoins increased significantly. Again, this is the mining and incentives and other topics that we are going to cover in this section. Right now, United States has a leading position in terms of Bitcoin mining. It used to be China, but anyone can. Do you guys know why China has almost no role in Bitcoin mining? Yeah, they banned. So there was a lot of concern because I think in terms of economy, these two countries might have some competitions, and they have worried if a country has a majority of control in a Bitcoin network. Right now, United States has a leading role, Russia, which might bring some concern, Germany, Kazakhstan, Iran. And as you see, some of the countries may not have good relationship with others, so it brings some concerns. So one of them, what if a country take control of the whole of the network? So if we talk about it later on, but let's say Russia suddenly invests billions of dollars in computer power, and they do all of the mining. So if they do all of the mining in a peer-to-peer system, they can take care of updates. They can hack the system. I talk about the consensus system later on, but basically, based on the mining power, or let's say computing power, you can validate some transactions or chain of blocks in the network. So if you suddenly spend too much money, and let's say you take control of 60% of computing power in the Bitcoin blockchain, you can vote for any validation that you want. But if you read the paper, Satoshi was pretty sure about this concept that could never happen. The major thing, if you want to take control of more than 50% of computing power, you should invest a lot of money buying infrastructure. Also, you require so many talents. You spend so much of computing power, energy, but at the same time, you lose the people's trust. Nobody would accept Bitcoin at that time, and probably Bitcoin would lose all of its value because it's a trust system. For taking control of Bitcoin and doing some illegal transaction or fraud transaction, you shouldn't invest too much money. But after investment, nobody trusts in the system, and suddenly it would be worthless. So in that aspect, people saying that there shouldn't be that much worry if a country take control of most of the network. So building block of cryptography is hash functions. Basically, these are for sending secure messages between two entities or wallet addresses. Basically, they take any size information, and the output is fixed size object that they call it hash. So there are some certain characteristics of hash functions. Again, sorry, it might be a little fuzzy, but when we do to the hands-on experience, it makes a lot more sense. So same data, same hash. And if you do a little change in x, the function of h of x would be different. So each x should be unique h of x or hash function. It's very easy to do this computation. You cannot derive x from h of x or hash function. Basically, it's a one-way function. It's infeasible to have x and y, which their hash function would be same. When I say infeasible, I just means the probability is very low. It's not impossible, it's infeasible. And you cannot find x if you know the hash function output and also some information of x. This is basically one of the methodology behind of the cryptography. So, but going to this definition, which a specific function that turns transactional data into unique fixed-site object-type hash, it could be everything. It could be one alien sending some money to me. I was much younger at that time. So some alien sent some cryptocurrency to me. So that information could be just converted. So this funnel is actually hash function. It's just converted in the unique size data, which is hash. If it's a newspaper, it could be converted to another hash, as these two hashes are different. Or my picture could be turned into hash. So it doesn't matter your input, the output is always the same. This is the definition of hash function. But again, later on when we go to the cryptocurrency, cryptography, these makes a lot more sense. Again, so I said it's infeasible, but let's say you have unlimited amount of computing power, maybe you can derive x from h of x, or maybe you can hack blockchain on Bitcoin blockchain. And as I said, it's very hard to be broken. A lot of talents and costs is actually associated, but more important, you use the public trust. Look at the Luna, which is Luna project, which has some coins like UST and also TRA. After a while, people lose their trust in this blockchain. And look at the value. It was about $100. Now it's literally zero. So it doesn't matter if you can break hash function or blockchain. It doesn't worth it if you lose the blockchain. There is a lot of discussions, and basically the founder of this blockchain just blamed some competitors. They think they want people lose their trust to this blockchain, is what they claim. But again, the main reason that what it happened, that people lost their trust to this ecosystem. Literally, it happened a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last month. This is another assignment that I asked from you guys. So just do your own research, watch some videos, maybe some documents. There's a lot of, and I actually put one of the video link in your assignment. So this was, oh, you cannot see my monitor. Okay, this guy, who is, I think he's from Korea, but he is studying in the United States. So he's one of the main co-founder of Luna. And in this video, they talk about why people lost their trust in this ecosystem. Please watch this video or other videos I mean, there's a ton of them, and probably can have a good idea about the effect of trust and how this ecosystem works. I think we have a good amount of time, but I think for the first session is enough for today. I don't want to overwhelm you with too much of information. So next part, I will talk about these hash functions and cryptographic concept of or methodology of basically Bitcoin blockchain. And next session will be a little more technical. And again, these are could be a little boring, especially the first sessions, but these are some jargon, some technical terms that you need to be aware of. And then we go more in depth. We do some experiments and basically we use hash functions and we send some cryptocurrency from one wallet to another one using your own computers. Again, if we get the lab ready, we also use some experiment in the lab, but I'm not sure if when those computers would arrive. There are some specialized computers for blockchain and cryptocurrency, which may not be, because of chip shortage, may not arrive soon, but at least you can use your own computer. You can use some set of codes and just see how a hash function works, and to send some money from one wallet to another wallet, so on and so forth. Again, sorry today what was a little boring, especially when I get to some technical parts, but again, I think later at the end of semester when we go to trading and NFT, might be a lot more interesting. Any questions for today? Yeah, today I finished it early. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but from next session, the class is full. We just teach by 9 p.m. If it's something needed, maybe go a little further, but your attendance could be in class or over Zoom. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a good evening.